Welcome back to the Gentleman's Gazette. In today's video, we'll be discussing stylish and spooky Halloween costumes for gentlemen. Here within the offices of the Gentleman's Gazette, we've got a few different opinions on the significance of the Halloween holiday. Growing up in Germany, Halloween wasn't really a big deal for our founder Sven Raphael Schneider, although he did do a few things occasionally. And it's important to point out that he met his wife Teresa at a Halloween party when they were both in school. Meanwhile, I grew up here in the United States, and Halloween was a considerably bigger deal. I dressed up in various Halloween costumes over the years, often as superheroes because of my love of comic books, and I definitely enjoyed trick-or-treating and putting my costume together. What we've come to realize, and hence it's the subject of today's video, is that there are a number of costumes that stylish gentlemen and appreciators of classic menswear can put together, either from items completely within their own closets, or supplementing by going through a few vintage stores or buying a few things online. We're highlighting 7 different costumes today, and they all follow a specific set of criteria. First of all, they are all based in classic men's style. As I just said, most of the core pieces will be able to come from your wardrobe if you already have an appreciation for classic menswear. Furthermore, we believe all of these costumes are classy or in good taste, not too makeup heavy, and instantly recognizable, meaning that when you walk into a room or a Halloween party, people will immediately know what you're supposed to be. First up today, then, is a costume that Raphael is modeling, the traditional vampire. Of course, the vampire is one of the staples of Halloween costumes, right up there with things like witches or Frankenstein's monster. Fortunately for the classic menswear lover, though, you can pull off a traditional vampire using a white tie ensemble. By the way, if you'd like to learn more about what goes into traditional white tie, you can check out our section on that subject in our comprehensive black tie guide here. Of course, there are many different variations for vampires, but we're going with the look immortalized by actor Bela Lugosi in the 1931 film version. So, in addition to the white tie ensemble making up the core of your outfit, you'll also want to supplement with 2 pieces that you could easily find online: a cape with a high collar and a medallion to be worn around the neck. If you'd like, you could also supplement with a bit of makeup like some white face powder or some blood at the corner of your mouth achieved with lipstick. However, neither of these things are absolutely essential. Also in that category would be some of those false plastic vampire teeth, because they might just get in the way of your speaking over the evening and be generally inconvenient. If you don't have a white tie ensemble to wear, you could also pull off a traditional vampire costume by using the cape and a black tie ensemble, or something even less formal like a black necktie, white shirt, and red vest. Next up is a costume that I'm modeling, Indiana Jones, the famous film adventurer. Given that Indiana Jones's costume was itself inspired by earlier film serials of the 1940s and films like Treasure of the Sierra Madre with Humphrey Bogart, there are definitely some classic style elements involved, most notably the dark brown fedora that you'll often see Indy wearing. In addition, you'll need a brown leather jacket and ideally also a small brown leather messenger bag. Your shirt and trousers could be anything on the brown scale. You could wear something in khaki, or you could do as I'm wearing here and wear brown pants and a white button-down collared shirt that has a bit of a rumpled appearance to it. I'm also wearing brown leather boots here and an extra belt to simulate the gun belt that Indy wears. Cap off the look with a leather whip and you'll be ready to go on an adventure. Next up from Raphael is another costume involving white tie, the Phantom of the Opera. This one's fairly easy as well, as the white tie ensemble makes up the bulk of it. You'll just need the Phantom's half mask for that instantly iconic look, and you could also wear a cloak as well. By the way, if you've got your core pieces of a white tie ensemble together but you're looking for some high-quality white tie accessories, you don't have to look any further than the Fort Belvedere shop, as we offer a wide range of accessories to go with formal wear. You can find those here. And as with the vampire costume, if you don't have white tie, you could probably get away with wearing black tie in a pinch, just so long as you do remember that iconic half mask. Next from me is a slightly more modern look, Agent Smith from the film The Matrix. You could also pass this off as a more generic Secret Service or spy costume as well. What you'll need here is a black suit, black long necktie, and white shirt, in addition to other elements like black socks and shoes. If you do specifically want to go for an Agent Smith costume down to the T, the specific design of sunglasses that Agent Smith wore in the film can be found online, as can an earpiece that you could wear. I'm also supplementing here with a thin tie bar across my tie and wearing my French cuff shirt with the cuffs undone inside the sleeves of the jacket. This was a particular style quirk that I picked up on when viewing the film again recently. Specifically for this costume, I am glad that I do have a black suit in my wardrobe, but if you're curious as to how often a gentleman should actually be wearing a black suit, you can find our video on that subject here. Next from Raphael, we return to classic film to go with Charlie Chaplin's famous tramp character. Chaplin would wear ill-fitting morning dress in this role to accentuate the clownishness of the tramp character. As such, you'd need a traditional morning wear ensemble of striped pants and a dark coat, as well as a shirt with a wing collar, or a turn-down collar made to look like a wing collar in a pinch, and a dark tie. If you'd like to learn more about morning dress, there's also a section for that dress code in the Black Tie Guide on our website. Capping off the look would be a bowler hat and cane to do some of the prop comedy that Chaplin was famous for, and then you'll need some black eyeliner to draw in some eyebrows and the famous toothbrush mustache that Chaplin's tramp character sported. You could also, of course, go out and buy a false mustache to wear, but we wouldn't recommend this for a few reasons. First of all, these kinds of toothbrush mustaches are often more associated and will be sold as Hitler mustaches rather than Chaplin mustaches. Second of all, we'll often find that the adhesive used to put these mustaches on can be uncomfortable and may not hold throughout the course of the evening. The final look I'm modeling today is the one you see here. This is a Clark Kent costume mid-transformation to Superman. Of course, this one resonates for me as I'm a big comic book fan, and it also incorporates my love of classic style with the blue suit. Blue is the most traditional color for Clark Kent as seen in the comic books, but you could get away with really any suit color as well as any shirt and tie. Most traditional here though would be a white shirt and a red striped tie as I'm wearing. It will also help to slick back your hair and wear glasses, two things I already do naturally, so this costume is even easier for me. You could supplement with a hat, like the gray fedora I'm wearing here today, also most traditional. And of course, the key for this costume would be the Superman t-shirt worn underneath the dress shirt. That way you can be in that mid-transformation look. Our final costume today again comes from Raphael, this one another film character, Gordon Gekko from the film Wall Street. Here you're going to want to go for that distinctly 1980s power suit corporate raider look. So you'll want to slick your hair straight back and incorporate several features like suspenders and a Winchester shirt. Wear a bold, wide tie with a large pattern, something like large repeating neats or paisley, and also you could wear something like gray trousers with inward-facing pleats. Supplement with a jacket if you'd like, or you could leave it off and show off the suspenders and two-tone shirt. Add optional props like a cigar or maybe a 1980s style brick phone available online, or maybe if you've got one of your own still bumming around somewhere, and you'll complete the Gordon Gekko look. Just remember that greed is good. These 7 costumes are just a sampling of some of the ideas we had. There were also a few others, but they were a bit more involved as to supplementary pieces. For example, you could look to something like Dick Tracy, which would require a yellow trench coat and fedora. Probably possible to find somewhere, but definitely more difficult than any of the things we listed here today. You could also look for something like James Dean with his iconic red Harrington jacket from Rebel Without a Cause. Raphael has a green Harrington, but because that isn't the iconic color, we decided to skip that costume. Still, you can find more information on the Harrington jacket here. If you're aware of any other costumes that incorporate classic menswear, be sure to let us know in the comments below. Have fun assembling your costumes, and from everybody here at the Gentleman's Gazette, happy Halloween!